So let's start with the class. So today's class is another important class, which is pathophysiology of COPD. So before going to the proper management of COPD on your OPD basis, IPD basis, ICU, critical care, indications of NIV, everything is a part of GOLD guideline. Okay. So before going to that, we should know the basics of COPD, that why COPD is occurring and what is the pathophysiology behind that and what are the complications because of those things. Okay. So we are dealing with pathophysiology of COPD. Alright. So since many years we have divided COPD into two parts, chronic bronchitis and emphysema. Nowadays we are not using the term chronic bronchitis very often, but to understand the pathophysiology, we are going to study according to that only. There are two things. One is chronic bronchitis and one is emphysema. Okay. So most of the time we are facing with the patients who are emphysematous in case of COPD. What are the clinical features these patients will have? They will have productive cough. They will have dyspnea on exertion. Okay. Because of this productive cough and because of dyspnea on exertion, there will be airway obstruction, or you can say that because of airway obstruction, the patient will have dyspnea on exertion. Okay, so there will be excessive productive cough, because of which there will be airway obstruction, and that will lead to dyspnea on exertion. And ultimately, when you will auscultate these patients, they will have wheeze or rhonchi. These will be present in your clinical findings. Okay. So now we have used two terms here. One is productive cough and one is wheeze and rhonchi. So why these two things are occurring in a case of COPD patients? Why the patient of COPD are having a lot of productive cough and why this leads to wheeze? Okay. So these patients will have excessive mucus production. Okay. So there is excessive mucus production. यहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा mucus secretion होने लग जाता है इनका. ठीक है. So there is excessive mucus production. ठीक है. और heavy mucus is there. ठीक है. Now because of this excessive mucus production, what will happen? The lumen will be narrowed. ठीक है. जो ये normal lumen है, as compared to normal lumen, जिस lumen में बहुत ज़्यादा mucus production होगा, वहाँ पे narrowing होने लग जाएगी. So because of this excessive mucus production, because of this heavy mucus, the lumen will become narrow. So there is narrowing of the airway lumen. ठीक है. Now what will happen when the lumen will become narrowed? What will happen? Now they will try to push the diaphragm upwards. ठीक है. Because वहाँ पे air passage को जगह ही नहीं मिल रही है, तो diaphragm को भी वो धीरे धीरे upward push करने लग जाएंगे. So the narrowed airway lumen, it will try to push up the diaphragm. So the diaphragm is pushed up, and because of this, the patient will suffer dyspnea. Clear? This much is very clear, I think. Now, along with this excess mucus, there is heavy mucus production. Along with this heavy mucus, there is also now deposition of fibrocollagen tissues more and more. ठीक है. So these patients, because they are chronic smokers or they are being exposed to some biomass for a longer time, so their airway gets irritated and hence they will be having more and more mucus production, and along with this mucus production they will also have more and more formation of fibrocollagenous tissues. And because of this production of more and more fibrocollagenous tissues, this will ultimately lead to fibrosis of certain part of the airways. And because of this fibrosis of certain part of the airways, the disease becomes an irreversible disease. Very opposite as compared to bronchial asthma. When we'll talk about the GINA guidelines, I have already covered the lecture of pathophysiology of asthma, and in that we have seen that it is the triggers which cause inflammation of the airways, and once the triggers are removed, the airways become absolutely normal, and hence the disease is reversible disease. But what happens in COPD is because of the chronic frequent exposure to all the biomass and smoke and everything, the mucus gets the airway gets irritated, and because of that they keep on producing more and more mucus production. There will be more and more secretions of the goblet cells, and along with this mucus they will also cause increase in the production of fibrocollagenous tissues, and these fibrocollagenous tissues will keep on depositing, and they will make certain part of the lung, they will get fibrosed, and the disease will become an irreversible disease. So that is why the bronchodilator reversibility is absent in a case of COPD, and the disease is irreversible. So ultimately you have mucus, you have inflammation because of these fibrocollagenous tissues, and ultimately you have fibrosis of your lungs. Okay? All these three things, inflammation, mucus and fibrosis, they will cause bronchospasm, and there will be irreversible airway obstruction. Okay? So this is the first justification why bronchodilator reversibility is absent in a case of COPD, whereas it is present in case of bronchial asthma, because the disease is irreversible. Mucus एक बार produce होना start हो गया, they will keep on irritating your alveoli. Fibrotic tissues एक बार start हो गए तो कहीं ना कहीं वो fibrosis करके वो alveoli को permanent damage कर देंगे. So certain part will become completely damaged, and the alveoli will not part in the gas exchange throughout the life. So the disease will become irreversible with due course of the time, and bronchodilator reversibility will be absent in case of COPD. Please write down this much. Okay? Now, this is a normal alveoli of a healthy lung. Okay? What will happen? These alveoli are now getting damaged, and because of the excessive mucus production, the airway gets narrowed. तो आपका ल्यूमेन जो है वो नैरो होने लग जाएगा. ठीक है, ये आपका ल्यूमेन जो है वो नैरोइंग हो रही है, क्योंकि बहुत ज्यादा म्यूकस बन रहा है, बहुत ज्यादा गॉबलेट सेल्स प्रोड्यूस हो रहे हैं, बहुत ज्यादा इन्फ्लेमेशन हो रहा है. ठीक है, तो उसकी वजह से क्या होगा? The lumen is getting narrowed and the alveoli are also getting damaged. So now what will happen? The patient will breathe in oxygen and normally he breathes out carbon dioxide, but the airway passage to breathe out this carbon dioxide is not possible. So the patient is नॉट एबल टू वॉश आउट दिस CO2. जो CO2 अंदर पड़ा हुआ है, जो ट्रैप हो चुका है, वो बाहर नहीं निकल पा रहा है बिकॉज ऑफ दिस narrowing of the lumen. So now what will happen, these alveoli, they will try to enlarge in size so that they can provide some area to wash out this CO2. ठीक है, आपके alveoli normally present है, distorted हो रहे हैं, lumen पूरा narrow हो रहा है, तो CO2 wash out होने की जगह ही नहीं मिल रही है. ठीक है, तो अब airways क्या try करेंगे, alveoli will try to do some physiological changes. So they will try to grow up in size so that they can blow out the CO2. So alveoli will get bigger in size. Alveoli will get bigger in size to wash out your CO2. And what is this phenomena called as? This is called as hyperinflation. And the complete term is dynamic hyperinflation. That because of certain changes, the body has to do some physiological change, and that is why it will cause dynamic hyperinflation. Okay. Now, what will happen because of this dynamic hyperinflation? आपका CO2 तो wash out हो रहा है, लेकिन more and more air is coming inside now. So the air will get trapped. So that is called as air trapping. ठीक है? So all these findings you will see in a case of COPD, and you should know the reason why this is happening, why dynamic hyperinflation is happening, why air trapping is happening, why the disease is an irreversible disease. ठीक है? Why the alveoli are getting enlarged in size to wash out CO2. Okay? So these are the reasons why bronchodilator reversibility is not present in case of COPD. So these are the reasons behind the mechanism of COPD. Now there is inflammation. ठीक है? गॉबलेट सेल्स प्रोड्यूस हो रहे हैं, म्यूकस सिक्रीशन हो रहा है, फाइब्रोकोलाजन टिश्यूज रिलीज हो रहे हैं, सो दे विल कॉज इन्फ्लेमेशन. सो व्हाट दिस इन्फ्लेमेशन डू, दे विल कॉज रिलीज ऑफ लिम्फोसाइट्स, मैक्रोफेजेस, न्यूट्रोफिल्स. ठीक है, एंड दीज लिम्फोसाइट्स, मैक्रोफेजेस एंड न्यूट्रोफिल्स, दे विल फर्दर रिलीज massive amount of cytokines. And growth factors. ठीक है? What is the main difference between asthma and COPD? In bronchial asthma pathophysiology, what you will see the mast cells will be activated, and they will cause release of interleukins, eosinophils, and these will cause release of histamines. ठीक है? So the pathophysiology behind bronchial asthma is eosinophils, histamines, interleukins, which cause allergy. ठीक है? और जैसे ही आप एलर्जन को रिमूव करोगे तो क्या होगा, आपके मास्ट सेल्स वापस से डिसेंसिटाइज हो जाएंगे, और ये जो कुछ भी रिलीज हो रहा था ये वापस से रिवर्ट बैक हो जाएगा. ठीक है? एंड हेंस द डिजीज इज रिवर्सिबल. यू रिमूव द ट्रिगर, द पैथोफिजियोलॉजी विल ऑटोमेटिकली गो डाउन. यू ब्रिंग द ट्रिगर, the pathophysiology will reappear. Nothing happens in COPD. यहाँ पे कहीं पे भी हमने मास्ट सेल्स, इओसिनोफिल्स, न्यूट्रोफिल्स की बात ही नहीं की. यहाँ पे रिलीज होते हैं lymphocytes, macrophages, neutrophils, and they cause release of massive amount of cytokines and growth factors, and all of them will cause irreversible disease. They will not cause a reversible disease. They will cause irreversible disease. ठीक है. Now what will happen? These cytokines and growth factors, they will cause more and more production of goblet cells. So they will produce more and more of goblet cells, and when more goblet cells will be produced, there will be more amount of mucus formation. They will cause more and more fibrocollagen tissues production, and ultimately it will cause more and more fibrosis. Again, this will be irreversible, and the smooth muscles will become hyper responsive. Okay, so this is the complete pathophysiology. Okay, so once again, the reason behind COPD to become an irreversible disease is clear. Okay, that there is inflammation, there is release of mucus, there is narrowing of the lumen, which will cause more and more production of fibrocollagenous tissues. Ultimately, it will cause irreversible airway obstruction. Because of the irreversible airway obstruction, the airway will be narrowing, and because of the narrowing of the airway, the CO2 washout will not be possible. So what will happen? The alveoli will grow more and more in size, and they will try to wash out this CO2, but in return there will be more and more trapping of the airways. Ultimately this is called as dynamic hyperinflation and air trapping. बट एक पॉइंट पे एल्वेलाई थक जाएंगे. कितना एक्सपैंड होंगे, उनकी भी लिमिट होगी ना एक्सपैंड होने की. सो एक पॉइंट पे दे विल बी टायर्ड एंड फटीग, एंड दे वोंट बी एबल टू वॉश आउट further CO2, and that's why a patient of acute exacerbation of COPD presents with type 2 respiratory failure. It is not necessary that each and every time the patient of COPD will come in type 2 respiratory failure. If he is in an early stage of COPD where the process of dynamic hyperinflation is going on, the alveoli will keep on moving out the CO2, but the patient will be dyspneic, the patient will be in respiratory failure, and he will be in type 1 respiratory failure. But at a point of time, these alveoli will be getting fatigued. Body थक जाएगी पूरी तरह. He will use his excessive muscles. He will use all his efforts. He will use his tripod position to sit, and all the alveoli will be stretched at their maximum limit. And after that, further washing out of CO2 will not be possible, and patient will land up into type 2 respiratory failure. That is why most of the time when patient comes in the hospital in your emergency, he will be in type 2 respiratory failure only. ठीक है? There will be release of lymphocytes, macrophages, neutrophils, which will cause irreversible production of goblet cells, fibrocollagen tissues. Okay? So, you have a term which is called as emphysema. This is more or less similar to chronic bronchitis. The pathophysiology will be similar in both. The only thing is there will be more and more hyperinflation as compared to chronic bronchitis. So, the patient will have very high hyperinflated lungs. He will be a very heavy smoker, not stopping till now. So more and more air trapping will be keep on going as a normal physiological process, and the patient will have more hyperinflation. Chronic bronchitis में usually आपको एक्सरे बहुत ज़्यादा hyperinflated नहीं मिलेगा, but in case of an emphysematous lung, there will be more hyperinflation as compared to chronic bronchitis. What will happen because of this more hyperinflated lung? There will be increase in AP diameter. What will happen because of this increase in AP diameter? Patient will have barrel shaped chest. Again, a viva question the examiner will ask you in the examination. What will happen in this barrel shaped chest? Now barrel shaped chest में क्या होगा कि alveoli सारे dilated पड़े हुए हैं, सारे alveoli dilated पड़े हुए हैं. ठीक है. Now they will not collapse and they will not open. वो permanently dilate होके रह गए. तो what will happen? These dilated alveoli they are actually dead alveoli. They will not participate in gas exchange. क्योंकि वो कोलैप्स नहीं होंगे, तो उनके अंदर से गैस एक्सचेंज होगी नहीं, अंदर CO2 आना और जाना बंद हो जाएगा. एक लिमिट तक वो CO2 को वॉश आउट करेंगे, बट आफ्टर दैट वो इतने ज्यादा स्ट्रेच हो जाएंगे कि नाउ दे विल नॉट पार्टिसिपेट इन गैस एक्सचेंज. दे विल रिमेन लाइक अ डेड alveoli. एंड दैट इज व्हाई, बिकॉज दीज डेड alveoli आर नॉट पार्टिसिपेटिंग इन गैस एक्सचेंज. वो पूरे बस ओपन पड़े हुए हैं, ट्रैप्ड एयर के साथ पड़े हुए हैं, पूरे एक्सपैंडेड पड़े हुए हैं. दे आर नॉट पार्टिसिपेटिंग इन गैस एक्सचेंज. You will have decreased breath sounds. It is not that these patients will have rhonchi or wheeze. These patients will not have any sound. That means these patients will have a total silent chest. This is more harmful as compared to a patient जिसमें rhonchi or wheeze audible है. कि what happens if rhonchi or wheeze is audible? That means कि कुछ alveoli are still fighting and to participate in gas exchange, जिसकी वजह से दीवार से टकरा रही है हवा. ठीक है, and that is why you will have a rhonchi sound. मतलब alveoli participate कर रहे हैं, कोशिश कर रहे हैं, they are trying to fight and they are trying to do this process of ventilation. एंड उस प्रोसेस में आपको rhonchi भी सुनाई दे रही है. जब alveoli पूरे थके हुए हैं, बिल्कुल फटीक पड़े हुए हैं, बिल्कुल enlarged पड़े हुए हैं, they will be not in a condition to participate in a gas exchange. Patient will have complete silent chest. So you have seen these patients in your emergencies. You will auscultate and you will not find any sound. That means this patient is very dangerous. Silent chest is very dangerous. You have to treat the patient very properly immediately. ठीक है, तो silent chest is very dangerous. The pathophysiology of emphysema will be same as compared to chronic bronchitis. Okay, the only thing is, instead of more and more mucus production, there will be decrease in the elasticity of lung tissue. इतना ज़्यादा mucus नहीं बनेगा यहाँ पे, but the elastic tissues will be decreased. So there is decrease in the elasticity of the lung tissues. ठीक है, because of decrease in the elasticity of the lung tissues, again the alveoli will be damaged completely. ठीक है, there will be massive enlargement of the airways in order to wash out the CO2. That is again more and more hyperinflated lung, and later on ultimately it will lead to fibrosis, which is irreversible. ठीक है, so ultimately emphysema में भी क्या होगा? There is decrease in the elastic tissues, which will cause destruction of the bronchioles, and ultimately it will lead to fibrosis and irreversible damage. ठीक है, so this is a complete crux of the pathophysiology of COPD, be it chronic bronchitis or emphysema. Terms अलग अलग है, but more or less the pathophysiology is same. The only thing is there is more and more of hyperinflation in case of emphysema, and the patient can present with a silent chest, which is very very dangerous. ठीक है, what are the basic causes behind these changes of COPD? So the most important cause is your smoking. What happens in smoking? Smoking releases more and more of neutrophils. and because of that nicotine, because of the neutrophils, more and more of neutrophils, there is increase in the elastases. ठीक है, the enzyme elastase will increase and elastase क्या करता है, पूरी elastic tissues को खत्म कर देता है. ठीक है, there is an enzyme called alpha-1 antitrypsin which inhibits this elastase. It is a good enzyme. alpha-1 antitrypsin elastase को destroy करके रखता है. तो जब alpha-1 antitrypsin की deficiency होगी तो क्या होगा, again elastase का लेवल बढ़ने लग जाएगा. ठीक है, एंड जब ये elastases का लेवल बढ़ने लग जाएगा तो क्या होगा, इलास्टिक टिश्यूज खत्म होने लग जाएंगे, डिस्ट्रॉय होने लग जाएंगे. सो देयर विल बी लॉस ऑफ इलास्टिक टिश्यूज एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दिस द प्रोसेस ऑफ inflammation, bronchial alveolar destruction, fibrosis, everything will start and it will cause irreversible damage. ठीक है, स्मोकिंग रिलेटेड सीओपीडी यूजुअली अपर लोब्स में ज्यादा अफेक्ट करती है. alpha-1 antitrypsin में emphysema is more towards the lower lobe of the lungs. We'll study alpha-1 antitrypsin in detail, but as of now this much is sufficient. ठीक है, other than this you have exposures of passive smoking, air pollution, biomass exposure, fuel exposure, chula exposure, certain hereditary cause, that is alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency. Okay, and asthma COPD overlap comes sometimes. Family history is positive. ठीक है, these are the certain causes which will cause COPD. ठीक है, so before going to the complication of COPD, one last point I want to put here, that when we were talking about the pathophysiology, this was the complete crux. ठीक है, there is more and more production of goblet cells of the mucus, there is fibrocollagenous tissues, and there is smooth muscle hyper responsiveness. ठीक है, now what happens in these smooth muscles, there is acetylcholine at the muscarinic receptors of the smooth muscles. ठीक है, so these COPD patients, when the process of inflammation begins, when the disease starts progressing, the smooth muscle becomes hyper responsive and they keep on producing more and more inflammation because of this acetylcholine. ठीक है, the reason of the inflammation in case of COPD is this acetylcholine which is present at the muscarinic receptors of the smooth muscles, which cause irreversible inflammation. So to treat this you have to block this acetylcholine. The basic जो नोटोरियस थिंग है यहाँ पे वो एसिटाइलकोलिन है. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे कोई ट्रिगर नहीं है. ठीक है, कोई टेम्पररी इंफ्लेमेशन नहीं है जो किसी एलर्जन से आया है या एयरवे टेम्पररी नैरोइंग से हुआ है जिसमें आप ब्रोंकोडायलेटर दोगे और वो ठीक हो जाएगा. नहीं, यहाँ पे द एसिटाइलकोलिन इज प्रेजेंट एट द मस्कैरिनिक रिसेप्टर्स ऑफ द स्मूथ मसल which causes its hyperresponsiveness and more inflammation. So you have to block this acetylcholine as the primary treatment of COPD, and that is why long-acting muscarinic agents are the treatment of choice in patient of COPD, not LABA, not ICS. ठीक है? Not LABA, not ICS is the treatment of choice. The first treatment of choice in COPD is long-acting muscarinic agents, because they will block this acetylcholine at the muscarinic receptors in this airway smooth muscle, which will prevent these hyperresponsiveness, which will present this further proliferation, and it will improve breathlessness and exercise tolerance and everything. ठीक है? Plus the safety profile will be definitely better than corticosteroids, because this is a safer choice for long-term maintenance. Okay, definitely if the patient is not controlled on LAMA या group E में चला जाता है, एक से ज्यादा exacerbation है उसके और उसको admit होना पड़ता है और वो LAMA से control नहीं होता है, then you have to add on the second drug. You can add LAMA plus LABA, or if the patient very severe COPD है, recurrent exacerbation है, LABA plus LAMA पे भी control नहीं हो रहा है, then you have to put him on the triple therapy. So I say should be the last resort in a case of COPD patient. अगर आपके पास OPD में stable COPD का patient आ रहा है, never start Foracort or Budecort to the patient at its first visit. Go look at the PFT. PFT एकदम ठीक है, patient stable है, patient को कभी admission नहीं हुआ है, recurrent exacerbation नहीं हुआ है, एकदम mild to moderate history है, and आप try कर सकते हो patient LAMA पे, या फिर best effort LABA plus LAMA पे try कर सकते हो. But don't start Foracort, don't start budesonide or fluticasone at the first visit of a stable COPD patient in your OPD. This is my message to you. क्योंकि there is a habit of all the doctors of writing Rotacare, Foracort BD, Rotacare, Foracort BD to all the patients. अगर साथ में COPD है तो आप उसको साथ में टायो ऐड कर दोगे, और आजकल ट्रिपल थेरेपी आ रही है, तो blindly you will start the triple therapy. Don't blindly start the triple therapy in a stable patient of COPD. If the patient is not in group B, if he is in group A, he has no history of admission, no history of exacerbation, you first try with LAMA alone, or you try with LABA plus LAMA, but you don't add inhaled corticosteroid at the very first visit to the patient of a stable COPD. So treatment of choice is LAMA, because it blocks the acetylcholine at the muscarinic receptors of the airway smooth muscles. ठीक है? This will reduce inflammation, increase exercise tolerance, plus moreover better safety profile. ठीक है? This mechanism is not followed in bronchial asthma. In bronchial asthma, there is no such smooth muscle hyperresponsiveness and acetylcholine sensitivity and anything. There is temporary inflammation because of the release of inflammatory cytokines like your eosinophils and histamines and everything. So that require a proper bronchodilator and anti-inflammatory support. And hence treatment of choice in bronchial asthma will be your inhaled corticosteroids plus beta agonist, because they both will act as anti-inflammatory action. ठीक है? बट यहाँ पे हमें इन्फ्लेमेशन को नहीं रोकना है, यहाँ पे हमें स्मूथ मसल के प्रोलिफरेशन को रोकना है, और स्मूथ मसल के प्रोलिफरेशन को रोकने के लिए हमें एसिटाइलकोलिन को रोकना पड़ेगा, और एसिटाइलकोलिन को रोकने के लिए हमें लामा की जरूरत पड़ेगी. ठीक है? सो दिस इज द बेसिक डिफरेंस. द ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ चॉइस इन COPD, फर्स्ट ड्रग बिकम्स योर लामा, देन यू गिव लामा प्लस LABA, एंड एट द लास्ट रिजॉर्ट अगर पेशेंट इस पे भी कंट्रोल नहीं हो रहा, तब यू हैव टू स्टार्ट विद लामा प्लस LABA प्लस ICS. ठीक है? Because you have to decrease the smooth muscle proliferation. ठीक है? उल्टा होगा bronchial asthma में. You have eosinophils, you have IgE antibodies, you have histamines, and all these triggers, they cause inflammation of the airways, which is temporary. Okay, सो इस इन्फ्लेमेशन को रोकने के लिए यू नीड एंटी इन्फ्लेमेटरी एजेंट्स। ठीक है, यहाँ पे यू नीड टू डिक्रीज द स्मूथ मसल प्रोलिफरेशन, यहाँ पे आपको इन्फ्लेमेशन को रोकना है, तो यहाँ पे आपको एंटी इन्फ्लेमेटरी एजेंट चाहिए। सो योर steroids and beta agonist will act as anti-inflammatory agents and they will become the treatment of choice. This is the most important and basic difference। मेरा पूरा पैथोफिजियोलॉजी पढ़ाने का मेन क्रक्स यही था कि आप लोगों को पता रहे कि ओपीडी में आपको कब स्टेरॉइड ऐड करना है, कब स्टेरॉइड ऐड नहीं करना है। What is the proper exact treatment protocol in a patient of COPD and asthma? You should know very clearly. The whole main message behind this class is this only. I want to make you feed this in your mind that please treat your patients very carefully, unnecessarily don't give steroids to all your patients. ठीक है, बाकी पैथोफिजियोलॉजी इज वेरी सिंपल, आप बुक से पढ़ोगे तो भी आपको पता चल जाएगा। ठीक है, बट माय मैसेज विल नॉट रीच टू यू। फाइनली, व्हाट आर द कॉम्प्लिकेशंस ऑफ अ पेशेंट ऑफ COPD? ठीक है, सो एज यू ऑल नो द पेशेंट will have disturbed and destroyed alveoli. They will suffer from recurrent infections like pneumonia because of the obstruction of airways. ठीक है, narrowing है, goblet cells है, mucus है, airway obstruct हो रहे हैं, तो because of this they will not be able to clear the bacteria. ठीक है, plus if the patient is current smoker, this smoking will destroy your cilia of your airways, and again you will not be able to clear the bacteria, and that is why these COPD patients are prone to recurrent pneumonia. Second, respiratory failure. ठीक है, so we have already seen because of these exacerbations, whether it is acute or chronic exacerbation, there is increase in smooth muscle proliferation which will cause inflammation which will be irreversible. There will be more and more mucopurulent airways, more and more goblet cells, more and more fibrocollagenous tissues. This will cause more and more bronchospasm, and because of this bronchospasm the airway will alveoli will try to expand which to wash out the CO2, but after a certain point the CO2 washout will not be possible, and ultimately the patient will land up into type 2 or hypercapnic respiratory failure. Very important point. ठीक है, now if the patient's lung is hyperinflated, what will happen? The alveoli are not participating in gas exchange, the patient is not able to deep breathe in. ठीक है, तो वो ब्रीथ नहीं कर पा रहा है, तो पेशेंट इज नॉट एबल टू ब्रीथ इन। What will happen? Whose tidal volume will decrease. When tidal volume will decrease, what will happen? The oxygen delivery to the alveoli will decrease. And when the oxygen delivery to the alveoli will decrease, what will happen? The patient will have hypoxemic respiratory failure, which is type 1 respiratory failure. So COPD is a mixture of both type 1 plus type 2 respiratory failure. दोनों हो सकता है, पहले type 1 से शुरू होकर बाद में type 2 में भी जा सकता है, या पहले वो थक गया, CO2 वॉश आउट नहीं कर पा रहा है तो type 2 में जाके और बाद में hypoxic भी हो सकता है, तो both the things are possible. ठीक है, so increase in the CO2 will cause decrease in oxygenation because now the dead cells will not be able to deliver oxygen to the alveoli, and that will cause both hypoxemic as well as type 2 respiratory failure, पर बोलेंगे हम उसको type 2 respiratory failure only. ठीक है, viral infections are very very important. Viral triggers, viral upper respiratory tract infection is the most common trigger. Patient को COVID है, swine flu है, या any viral which is circulating in the environment, this is the most common trigger to precipitate or to increase this inflammation. अगर patient already immunocompromised है, already prone to COPD है, and कोई secondary viral infection उसने catch कर लिया है, there are very high chances that he will land up into respiratory failure you will have severe exacerbation of COPD, and that is why vaccination is very, very, very important in case of COPD patients. So always advise your patients of COPD and bronchial asthma to annually take influenza and pneumococcal vaccines so that they do not catch secondary viral or bacterial infections in life. So everything has a reason, and you should know the reason why this is happening. This class is very important. Every student should go through this class. Very basic concepts of COPD are hidden. Third complication is for pulmonale. Now what happens? This is your heart, this is your right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium and left ventricle, and here is your pulmonary artery. Okay, now patient is alveoli are permanently damaged, oxygen gas exchange हो ही नहीं रहा है, patient hypoxemic है. So what will happen because of hypoxemia? And oxygen delivery to the system is being decreased. So what will happen? There will be pulmonary vasoconstriction, क्योंकि ऑक्सीजन तो चाहिए ना, ब्लड तो चाहिए, ब्लड सप्लाई को कैसे बढ़ाया जाए. तो नाउ द पल्मोनरी वेसल्स विल से कि चलो हम कॉन्स्ट्रिक्ट होके थोड़ा ज्यादा ब्लड सप्लाई कर देते हैं. So there will be pulmonary vasoconstriction as a normal physiological process, but एक particular point of time के बाद जब बहुत ज्यादा कंस्ट्रिक्शन होने लग जाएगा तो क्या होगा, राइट वेंट्रिकल में आफ्टर लोड बढ़ने लग जाएगा. फ्लूइड जो है वो आगे जाने की बजाय वापस बैक प्रेशर से पीछे चलने लग जाएगा. ठीक है, नॉर्मली फ्लूइड शुड go from pulmonary artery to the lungs for ventilation, but क्योंकि chronic hypoxia है, ventilation हो ही नहीं रहा है, बॉडी में blood circulation ही नहीं है, so pulmonary artery will keep on constricting and the fluid will go to the back pressure and it will cause increase in right ventricular afterload. What will happen? The pressure of the pulmonary artery will increase and it will cause pulmonary hypertension. What type of pulmonary hypertension? What group? It is group C pulmonary or type 3 pulmonary hypertension, secondary to lung disease, comes in group C. Ultimately, the patient right ventricle का overload इतना बढ़ जाएगा कि patient will enter into right ventricular failure, and that is why your patients of COPD many a times they present with bilateral pedal pitting edema. Why? Because of this fluid overload, they have landed up into right ventricular failure. There is no proper circulation of the fluid and they will lead into right heart failure. So they will be having raised JVP. JVP distension will be there. They will also have portal hypertension sometimes. There will be ascites because the fluid is accumulating in the third space, and there will be hepatic distension, that is hepatomegaly sometimes, which can also derange your LFTs. So many times you will see a patient of heart failure will have deranged LFTs. That is not because of liver disease, that is because of congestion. Congestion की वजह से there is portal hypertension, there is hepatic distension, there is JVP distension, there is bilateral swelling of the extremities, there is pitting edema. You have to give diuretics to these patients and it will reduce these pressures and the things will become normal. These are the classic findings of right heart failure. ठीक है, fourth complication of COPD is polycythemia. Again, many a times you must have seen your patients जिनमें your hemoglobin 17, 18, 19, 20, patient is hypoxic. ठीक है, टाइप 1 रेस्पिरेटरी फेलियर में वार्ड में है. ठीक है, साइनोसिस हो रखा है, पेरिफेरल साइनोसिस हो रखा है. ठीक है, तो व्हाट इज द रीजन बिहाइंड दिस? व्हाई दिस पेशेंट आर पॉलीसाइथेमिक? क्यों हीमोग्लोबिन इतना ज्यादा है फिर भी पेशेंट साइनोस दे और रेस्पिरेटरी फेलियर में? बिकॉज ऑफ दिस हाइपोक्सीमिया, व्हाट विल हैपन? योर किडनी विल नाउ सेंस के ब्लड सेल्स नहीं है बॉडी में, ब्लड चाहिए ना, यू नीड आरबीसीज टू मेक द ऑक्सीजन टू ट्रेवल टू द टिश्यूज। ठीक है, अब पेशेंट को साइनोसिस हो रखा है, पेरिफेरल साइनोसिस हो रखा है, वो ब्लू पड़ा हुआ है, यानी कि उसके पेरिफेरी में ऑक्सीजनेशन ही नहीं हो रहा है। ठीक है, पेशेंट हाइपोक्सिया में है, तो जब ऑक्सीजनेशन नहीं हो रहा है, पेशेंट हाइपोक्सिया में है, तो किडनी को क्या लगेगा कि बॉडी में आरबीसीज ही नहीं है, जबकि ऐसा नहीं है। द रीजन ऑफ हाइपोक्सिया इज डिफरेंट। द रीजन ऑफ हाइपोक्सिया इज बिकॉज ऑफ excessive CO2 narcosis. The patient is landing up into hypoxic respiratory failure. The oxygen delivery to the tissues is decreasing, but the kidney will feel that body में RBCs ही नहीं है, body में blood cells ही नहीं है, तो ऑक्सीजन को लेके कौन जाएगा? तो वो किडनी क्या करेगी? It will produce more and more erythropoietin. वो बोन मैरो को बोलेगी ज्यादा से ज्यादा RBCs बनाओ, तो bone marrow will become more and more activated and it will cause more and more RBCs. But will these RBCs help to deliver the oxygen to the tissues? No. The pathophysiology of this deoxygenation is hypoxia, hypoxemic respiratory failure. So you have to give supplemental oxygen to these patients. Once you give supplemental oxygen to these patients, now the oxygen will reach to the peripheral tissues, the cyanosis will be relieved, and then the kidney will feel that now yes, everything is okay. Now let's decrease the production of erythropoietin and let's decrease the stimulation of the bone marrow, and RBCs will automatically comes out to be normal. Sometimes phlebotomy की जरूरत पड़ती है, but not always. You have to treat the primary pathology. ठीक है, so you know the primary pathology that there is no defect in RBC. RBCs में कोई गड़बड़ नहीं है, RBCs बॉडी में पड़ी हैं, RBCs तो अपना काम करना चाहती हैं, पर वो अपना काम कर नहीं पा रही हैं। ठीक है, क्योंकि पेशेंट तो ब्रीथ ही नहीं कर रहा है ना। हाइपोक्सिया क्यों हो रहा है? क्योंकि लंग्स पूरे हाइपर इन्फ्लेट हो चुके हैं। When lungs are completely hyperinflated, the alveoli are not participating in gas exchange. When alveoli are not participating in gas exchange, patient is not able to breathe. There is no tidal volume, and because of this, the oxygen delivery to the alveoli is decreasing, not because of deficiency of RBCs. But kidney को ऐसा लगता है कि यार कहीं ना कहीं बॉडी में RBCs की कमी है, तो चलो RBCs को बढ़ा देते हैं, and that is why they produce more, and these patients are polycythemic, but you have to treat these patients with supplemental oxygen. Primary pathology को treat करोगे तब ये सारी चीजें अपने आप ठीक होगी. Next complication, pneumothorax. ठीक है, so what is happening? The alveoli are distended. ठीक है, पूरे डिस्टेंड हो रहे हैं, गैस एक्सचेंज में पार्टिसिपेट ही नहीं कर रहे हैं। क्या होगा वहां पे? बिकॉज ऑफ दिस डिस्टेंडेड एल्वेलाई वहां पे छोटे छोटे बुल्ला बनने लग जाएंगे, एयर फिल्ड सैक्स बनने लग जाएंगे, क्योंकि वो कोलैप्स ही नहीं हो रहे ना, एल्वेलाई पूरे खुले पड़े हैं, दे आर कंप्लीटली ओपन, दे आर नॉट कोलैप्सिंग। जब एल्वेलाई कोलैप्स ही नहीं होंगे तो वो एयर फिल्ड सैक्स में कन्वर्ट हो जाएंगे, छोटे छोटे। देयर विल बी फॉर्मेशन ऑफ मल्टीपल स्मॉल बुल्ला फॉर्मेशन, है ना, वो डायलेटेड पड़े हैं, छोटे छोटे एयर सैक्स बना देंगे, एंड दीज बुल्ला दे कैन समटाइम्स रप्चर and they can cause secondary spontaneous pneumothorax. So that is why I always tell you, you should know the reason why everything is happening. In my every lecture you will have an answer to the question, which is why. Okay, so with this I complete my very important and basic physiological lecture of COPD. You can read the lecture through the textbook, but you will not find the reasons of why in the textbook. So please go through the lecture completely. It is a very beautiful lecture and very small hidden points are there. Everyone should know the reasons, and you should follow these guidelines in your daily clinical practice. That will make you different from a general physician. General physician will not read COPD in such a detail, and he will not have a crux of each and everything. ठीक है, so a pulmonologist and a general physician should be different in treating your patients. So I end up with the class, and I will put the recording on the app, and I'll also share the YouTube link, link in the group. so that you can study timely. Okay.